A county official who made crude remarks about dogs in animal shelters is not at work for now. Investigative reporter Scott Rodd says members of the public are demanding accountability.
Department of Animal Services Director Vaughn Maurice told staff in an email that Assistant Director Rachel Borelli would be, quote, out of the office in the near term. A county spokesperson declined to provide more details. The email came as KPBS published a story last week about a profane voice message Borelli sent. In it, she complained not enough dogs were being euthanized.
Those words were words of someone who shouldn't be in her position.
Loretta Alva is a resident of Lemon Grove.
And people need to take accountability.
Alva asked the County Board of Supervisors to strengthen oversight of the county's animal shelters. She signed a Change.org petition calling for Borelli's removal. It's received over 2,000 signatures so far. Scott Rodd, KPBS News.
And now you can say you're fired.
Educators across the country are filing lawsuits alleging they were unlawfully fired for their comments about Charlie Kirk's assassination. In the complaints obtained by ABC News, plaintiffs claim their First Amendment rights were violated because the comments were made on personal social media accounts. One teacher in Iowa says she was fired for comparing Kirk to a Nazi. The district confirmed the firing, saying the situation was, quote, handled in accordance with applicable federal and state law and board policy. The president of the American Federation of Teachers condemned the firing, saying, quote, no one should celebrate another person's murder, but using this tragedy to encourage doxing, censorship, and firing of people for their opinions, including educators' private opinions shared during their personal time, is wrong. Let's bring in ABC News legal contributor and Hofstra Law professor James Sample and Avery Harper for more. James, how do you expect these legal battles to play out, and what do you think judges need to consider here?
Diane, the First Amendment protects your right to free speech from the government. It does not protect your right to free speech from your boss, which is to say, if you work for a private company, an individual who works for a private company, a private employer, can usually discipline or fire that individual for anything that individual says, including outside of work, including even online. An individual who works for the government, like a public school or a university, does have some more speech protections, but even then, not everything is protected. These cases, particularly involving the individuals who are suing private employers, are unlikely to go anywhere. Those involving the individuals who are suing on behalf of suing the government because they were fired from a public employment context, they have a better chance. But even there, it is not absolute, and public employees can be disciplined if their speech disrupts the workplace or goes against established policies, especially during work hours or on work platforms.
What exactly is protected by the First Amendment, and how can where you work affect how it protects you?
The First Amendment protects individuals against the government infringing on their speech right. The First Amendment does not protect against private employers or private individuals who might infringe on speech rights. There are no First Amendment rights against private individuals. But in the instances where the First Amendment is protective, i.e. in context where an individual is working for the government, the First Amendment right is very protective. But that First Amendment right gets balanced against other interests. There's a case called called Pickering v. Board of Education that produces a balancing test known as the Pickering balancing test. And that test, it's easy to articulate. It's very hard to apply in practice. That test basically balances, on the one hand, the government's interest in efficiency, in workplace harmony, satisfactory performance of the employee's duties, against the employee's First Amendment rights. There are contexts in which an employee has greater First Amendment rights based on context, based on numerous factors specific to the facts involved. So you can imagine a political science professor, for example, has more leeway if they discuss on a regular basis the feelings and thoughts about political leaders or political movements than, say, a professor of engineering at a university would, where they're making a one-off comment that is not necessarily germane to the material that they would normally cover.
Is there a distinction between hate speech and something people might find offensive?
There is no distinction, Diane, between hate speech and free speech. That is a comment that last week, about 9 days ago now, Attorney General Bondi made, that she said that there is hate speech and there is free speech, and we're going to go after those who are engaged in hate speech. The reality is that it is a bedrock principle of American constitutional law that even the idea of speech that we as a society or that the government abhors is protected by the First Amendment.
All right, James Sample, thank you.
So how's the college responding to this incident?
We're having a race forum.
And what's that?
A forum on race, so we can discuss the incident and the surrounding issues of race.
So the usual lip service.
No comment.
College campuses are buzzing with activity as students return after summer break, but change is also in the air. At more than 400 colleges and universities, programs and centers that promote diversity, equity, and inclusion have been eliminated or rebranded. DEI programs have been under a microscope since state laws and President Trump's executive orders labeled them as discriminatory. So what's the future of DEI in higher education? Paulette Granberry-Russell, president and CEO of the National Association of Diversity Officers in Higher Education, is here to tell us more. It's part of our Rethinking College series. Paulette, thank you so much for joining us. Your organization is more than 20 years old, which seems to underscore the fact that these efforts to promote diversity on college campuses is not new. But do you think that history is reflected in the current national conversation we're having about DEI?
As you referenced, the organization that I helped to lead has been around for 20 years, but that is not representative of the efforts within our colleges and universities to become a more welcoming, supportive environment for students based on diverse backgrounds, identities, lived experiences. So we've had quite a bit of work over I'd say the last 60 plus years to create a more supportive environment for all of our students.
And some of them have told us about the ways in which these types of programs help them get access to specific scholarships, programs, centers designed to encourage diversity. We spoke to one student at the University of Texas, Dallas, to find out what these programs on his campus meant to him.
When I did have access to DEI programs, they helped me a lot in being able to find a community where there was none. It's very easy as a Latino to feel very lost, especially if you're coming from a low-income background like me. It helped me find a lot of common community with people who genuinely cared about what was going on around them, and also helped me find access to conferences and programs that I wouldn't have known otherwise.
So what are some of those real-world changes that you're seeing now or anticipate happening in the future now that some of these programs are going away?
I think across the country, we've seen efforts both at the state level and certainly more recently with the executive orders to dismantle diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. We are seeing women's centers. We're seeing centers for members of the LGBTQ community, other cultural spaces that are being closed or defunded. And it's clear, I think, as represented by the student, that these spaces were built over decades as a direct response to student needs, and their disappearance is deeply troubling.
And those disappearances, do you anticipate that those are going to lead, or perhaps they already have, to demographic shifts as incoming students consider where they want to apply?
Well, it could. And if those individuals do not feel that that campus is either respectful or supportive of their needs, then it is possible that they will seek support in other colleges and universities across the country. But what should be noted is that these centers are not extras to campus life. They act as vital resources that ensure that all students, not just some students, are supported in their education.
The Trump administration this week announced a $500 million increase in funding to historically black colleges and universities, while at the same time cutting funding for colleges that mainly serve Hispanic students. How does that change fit into this administration's agenda when it comes to promoting diversity on college campuses?
At its core, our perspective is that this is not a win for students. It is a zero-sum approach. Funding resources are already scarce and potentially results in these institutions being pitted against each other. And all of these institutions, whether they are HBCUs, tribal colleges, Hispanic serving, minority serving institutions, they play a vital role in expanding access and opportunity for all students.
The Trump administration has also said that getting rid of some of these initiatives will lead to a society of, quote, colorblind and competence-based workplaces. How do you think about that vision as articulated there, and what does it mean to you?
Well, I think a colorblind employment environment, while a noble goal, that is not the reality of individuals' lived experiences or their sense of community. Our communities are diverse. People are not necessarily uncomfortable extending themselves across communities, but there are times when, in fact, we do not anticipate, nor should we expect, that every community is going to be welcoming and supportive. That is not the country that we live in currently. We have a long ways to go. And I think to achieve a colorblind society or country, while noble, I don't think that's the reality, nor do I think somehow diminishing culture and experiences is truly what is valued about this democracy.
Paulette Granberry Russell with the National Association of Diversity Officers in Higher Education, thank you so much.
And thank you, Allie, for this opportunity.
A lot of people are feeling anxious about artificial intelligence and how it might reshape the workforce in the next few years, especially new college grads. Sally Helm from our Planet Money team went on a quest to find a way to think about which jobs might be AI-proof or at least less threatened.
Charlie Baker recently graduated from Rutgers University in New Jersey. He was thinking about heading to law school, but he's delayed that plan for now, because he's worried that AI might soon replace lawyers.
If I'm going to graduate with, say, $100,000 in debt to a legal field where they're decreasing the jobs, I mean, that's a really bad situation.
I went looking for something simple, a list of jobs that might be immune from a robot takeover. And for a moment, I thought I'd found it. I came upon a list that takes 1,000 or so jobs and ranks them on something called AI exposure. That's essentially a measure of how much AI can help you do your job. As you'd expect, at the top of the list, more exposed, are knowledge workers, writers, physicists, concierges. At the bottom, blue-collar and physical jobs, dancers, welders, short-order cooks. But here's the thing. Exposure is not the same as this job will be automated.
If you're really exposed, it could be great for you.
Economist Daniel Rock is the man behind the list. His co-authors on his paper about this were researchers at OpenAI. He said, if you can use AI to get a lot more productive, and the world wants even more of what you're producing, then maybe your field will see an explosion of growth. On the other hand, if news writers get more productive and the world doesn't want even more news articles, maybe you do see job loss. At the same time, jobs at the bottom of the list aren't necessarily safe. Rock gave me a thought experiment. Say everyone fleeing knowledge work decides to become a welder at once.
You've got a huge supply increase, and these folks who are working in what they thought were safe roles are seeing their wages fall as other people compete with them.
So finding AI-safe jobs requires a second framework. Isabella Loaiza is a researcher at MIT. She wrote a paper with the economist Roberto Rigobone, and they kind of turned Daniel Rock's research inside out. Instead of looking at what tasks AI can help do, they asked, what are humans good for?
Let's look at what is complementary that humans can do very well that machines still can't do that well, at least for now.
She and her co-author came up with something called the EPOC score. It's an acronym, covers empathy, presence, opinion, aka ethical judgment, creativity, and a silent H, hope, the ability to plan and execute a vision. High EPOC jobs, ones that require more human skills, might be more resilient to AI. Managers tended to have high EPOC scores, and clerical workers scored low. And in our hunt for an AI-proof job, there was one more thing. If you have a very human task to do and a linked task that's very automatable, then you might be in a sweet spot where AI doesn't automate your job, but rather augments it. Like for a professor, One of their tasks might be making slides for a lecture. AI can probably do that. But a linked task, giving the lecture, that's pretty human. Or take lawyers.
The task that is delivering the argument in front of the judge requires a lot of presence, so it's really hard to automate that task. But then writing the brief about it, that task might be very automatable.
This is actually making me think of a listener who wrote into us. His name is Charlie. I told Loisa about Charlie Baker, who's decided to delay law school. She said he's right that the legal field will be affected by AI, but some legal jobs require a lot of human skills.
All the different occupations that require critical thinking, judgment, even creativity, that is not going to go away.
Of course, this is all just a theory. AI might get a lot more human-like, or we might just not care that it's only simulating something like empathy. I learned a definitive AI-proof job list doesn't exist. But Loisa's advice to Charlie Baker, go to law school and don't worry so much about the boring stuff. Really learn how to think. Sally Helm, NPR News.
How to customize it when I graduated very recently. Okay, here's the deal. A lot of new graduates that have not had a career job yet, they are concerned that they don't have any experience in that industry. They're applying for a job in the industry, and they're concerned that, oh no, I've never worked in that industry before. I'm just coming out of school, right? So the problem is they end up thinking, I don't have any experience, which is crap. You have a lot of experience. I've done a video on this. What do people do in a job? They follow instructions. They meet deadlines. They show up to work on time. They follow rules. They ask for help when it's needed. They get trained on technical things when necessary. And they can be trained on technical things, and they can retain it, and they can apply it, right? They can work in groups. They can collaborate with other people. They can communicate with their instructors and their peers in a professional and effective way, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, this is what they do on the job. But what did you do in school? You did all of those things, right? You're highly trainable. You showed up on time. You can follow rules, right? You asked for help, additional help when needed. You maybe went to see the instructor, right, and got some additional help when you were, maybe if your grades were falling behind or something. You can work in groups. You can collaborate with other people. You've maybe done projects with them. You can interoperate. You can communicate professionally with the instructor, with administrators, with other students. Every single thing on the list you've done just by being in school. It's a different context, but you've done all of those things. You have demonstrated all of those things. Those are some of the things you can put on your resume to say, like, look, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, all the things you're looking for. And if they say, well, back that up, when was, tell me about a time that, you had to seek additional help and go outside the lines, to kind of compensate for some deficiency and still manage to win. You could say, well, I did a project in this class, in this program. I worked with 4 other students. We were falling behind. I went to talk to the instructor. I explained this is what we're doing. I asked for additional help. They gave it. I then coordinated with the other people in the group. I took charge of the situation and sort of said, we have to do this extra work. I divvied it out to everyone. I checked up on people, coordinated it, right? I went back to the instructor for additional clarification. I came back to the group, disseminated it to the group, coordinated it, put it all together, presented it, and we passed with flying colors and kicked ass. It's like, that's what I can do for you. So all your experiences in school are totally pertinent to, in a job interview or, on the job. Those are the qualities they're looking for in great employees. So if you've done that stuff, think through examples of what you've done, come armed to job interviews, like with all these stories in your head. And this is the stuff you single out on your resume when you're applying for those jobs. If you don't have a lot of hard industry experience, you can list these things and say, I've done this. And if it matches what they're looking for, which it probably will, that's how you win at that game.
I don't want to cause any problems, Lieutenant. I just want a new partner.
Oh, I understand. Your partner's a racist prick. But you don't want to stir up any bad feelings with him.
Wally's been on the force for a long time.
17 years.
And I do have to work here, sir.
So, you don't mind that there's a racist prick on the force. You just don't want him to ride in your car.
If you need me to go on record about this, sir, I will.
That'd be great. Write a full report. Because I'm anxious to understand how an obvious bigot could have gone undetected in this department for 17 years. 11 of which he was under my personal supervision. Which doesn't speak very highly of my managerial skills. But that's not your concern. I can't wait to read it.
The start of what may be a landmark case for police accountability in Maryland kicked off in Greenbelt today. Capitol Heights Police Chief Mohammed Makasuba claims he was discriminated against for 2.5 years while working for the Prince George's County Police Department. He is now the center of a federal civil rights trial. He says it all started after he refused to justify the amount of force the white officer used to arrest a black woman. Our Lionel Donovan was in the courtroom at the U.S. District Court in Greenbelt today and has more.
The day started with the judge laying down some ground rules, one of them being no police officer will be allowed to wear their uniform in the courtroom. Mohammed Makasuba, who's the chief of police for Capitol Heights, wore his uniform today. The judge says that could influence the jury, although he did acknowledge that he didn't think Makasuba was trying to do that intentionally. Afterwards, the courtroom interviewed dozens from the jury pool on a variety of topics such as workplace discrimination and race relations before finally deciding on their final jury. After a break for lunch, opening statements began. Before joining the Capitol Heights Police Department in 2022, Mohammed Makasuba spent 12 years with the Prince George's County Police Department. This blurry cell phone video from 2019 shows when Makasuba was responding as a backup to assist a white officer who was arresting a black woman in Prince George's County. That woman's son recorded the video. We spoke to Makasuba's attorney yesterday evening.
They tried to coerce him into changing his witness statement that he made that night to justify the use of force that is reflected in the video to protect the white officer. He refused to do so.
Makasuba's attorney, Jordan Howlett, alleges for the next 30 months his client was discriminated against. Court documents outline a number of incidents, including his Ghanaian heritage, and that Makasuba was fired in 2021. Court documents show the department has denied all of his claims of racial discrimination, retaliation, and a hostile work environment. Lawyers representing the defendants in this case, which include the police department and specific officers he worked with, said in a legal response that Makasuba's termination was, quote, based on reasonable factors other than race and national origin, end quote. The alleged discrimination occurred while Hank Stawinski was chief of Prince George's County Police. Stawinski resigned in 2020 after an expert report related to a separate federal lawsuit filed by the Hispanic National Law Enforcement Officers Association detailed alleged incidents of racial discrimination, retaliation, and abuse within the department. After opening statements, the jury also heard from witnesses before closing for the day. Court will resume tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. From Greenbelt, Lionel Donovan, WUSA 9.
Welcome to the News Hour. The White House is threatening to use a looming government shutdown to drive mass layoffs at federal agencies.
And that's with the funding deadline that lawmakers appear almost certain to miss just days away. Our congressional correspondent, Lisa Desjardins, and White House correspondent, Liz Landers, are here with the latest. So, Liz, we'll start with you. Last night, the OMB director, Russ Vought, he told agencies to prepare shutdown plans that include permanent layoffs. What more do we know?
We obtained this memo late last night. It was sent over by the Office of Management and Budget. And in it, it says that they are preparing for a potential shutdown. And some of this is normal. And they've had some planning calls apparently about this week. And there's some politics in here, some finger pointing that the administration is doing at Democrats in particular, saying that they are inching closer to a shutdown over a series of insane demands, including $1 trillion in new spending. But this note goes farther, and what it suggests is that the agencies could use this moment to do mass layoffs. It says agencies are directed to use this opportunity to consider reduction in force. And as you know, Jeff, this administration, I should say, has really relied on these RIF notices, these reduction in force mechanisms, to really slim down the federal government in the last 7 or so months of the Trump administration.
And that's right. And we should make clear that the threat of permanent cuts is new. How do these agencies typically prepare for a possible shutdown?
So it's normal for an agency to put out a contingency plan, and they usually post those on a website. And the White House currently has some of this up right now, saying that agency contingency plans for a lapse in appropriations are hosted on each agency's website. We tried to find what those contingency plans would look like, and from a lot of the major federal agencies, we didn't see any updated contingency plans. So basically what that means right now is we don't know who is going to be deemed an essential worker, who keeps the government functioning, critical functions of the government that we need, who may be furloughed, and who may be part of this reduction in force. So right now, federal employees around the country are waiting to find out if they are impacted by this RIF or not.
Yeah, lots of confusion. So, Lisa, you've been talking with your sources on the Hill as well as the unions that represent federal workers. How do they see this threat of mass layoffs by the Trump administration?
Somehow we, yet again, are in uncharted territory, and you're right, federal workers are right in the middle of it. So talking to the largest union for federal employees, which is the American Federation of Government Employees, they put out this statement they sent to me and to others saying that the only path forward is compromise. Federal employees are not bargaining chips. And that gets to this idea of RIFs being on the table. They see RIFs as patently illegal. Now, the argument there, talking to a former official with the Office of Personnel Management, is that the law governing shutdowns says that when you're shutting down, HR for each agency is only supposed to be doing shutdown activities, figuring out who stays and who goes. And that a permanent RIF is not a shutdown activity. What it is reorganizing government. That's the argument that is illegal. Now, in reality, as we've seen the Trump administration do, they will make their argument that he has that power, and they will wait for courts to act, which will take much longer. Meanwhile, federal employees who have been promised to be paid after a shutdown now have a new concern, which is that they could lose their jobs entirely. Now, I also want to mention about Democrats, where they are with this federal workers being in the crosshairs moment. They right now are saying this is an intimidation scheme. It's not changing their strategy for the shutdown. But privately, some Democrats admit they are worried that maybe some aspects of a shutdown could lead to worse consequences, things they don't want to happen for government.
So let's talk more about that. Where do things stand? Because the Senate Democratic leader, Chuck Schumer, was on this program last night. He described President Trump as derelict in the way that he's going about handling all of this. Is either side budging? It appears they're not.
Yeah, this is a high stakes game of chicken right now. And what we're seeing is Democrats actually emboldened because they think Republicans have made some missteps, including the president canceling that meeting with them. Today, we saw Hakeem Jeffries, the House Democratic leader, again go in front of microphones. He is trying to make a statement here by having news conferences every day at the Capitol saying, hey, I'm here. I'm ready to meet. Now, in reality, also, Republicans have canceled not just the first couple of days of session next week, but all of next week. I spoke to a Republican member tonight, and I said, aren't you nervous about not being in town during the shutdown? He said, no, I don't think voters are going to care after this is over. That's the risk that Republicans are taking. I also want to walk people through, because this is a lot to talk about, a basic 101 of what is needed to avoid a shutdown, because it hasn't happened yet, right? So first of all, the first thing, obviously, is the House majority has to pass a funding bill. That has happened. House Republicans passed that bill. Now, this is what Democrats have rejected, and the Senate needs to have 60 votes to pass a funding bill. They're 8 votes short right now of getting that done. So that's really where the holdup is. That's where Democrats have leverage, because you don't need a lot of Democrats, but you do need more than they have right now. Where are we with the shutdown? I'm sticking with my 80% chances. They could maybe have a short-term funding bill, but no one's even discussing it right now.
And quickly back to something you said, Lisa. House Republicans, they canceled the session for next week. What reason did they give?
They said they don't think there's any reason to come back once they've passed their bill for funding, and they're leaving it up to the Senate. They're really just trying to jam Democrats in the Senate, but they say we've done our job. They need to do theirs.
All right. Lisa Desjardins, Liz Landers, our thanks to you both.
You're welcome.
Did you hear that? Say the white Democrats been emboldened. White Democrats and my brother Hakeem Jeffries. See, you're going to get me and say you being sloppy and inaccurate. White Democrats and Hakeem Jeffries been emboldened. Keep saying, man, that I need to go, and if somebody has time to research and see, like, exactly when did it begin to be we are emboldened? When did that word, like, really gain traction? Everybody's, I'm emboldened. I'm emboldened. I'm emboldened. When did they start saying that as opposed to, I don't know, I've been inspired, motivated. I don't know, I feel more courageous. Emboldened. That's emboldened. Generally, that's about the only time I can think of where it's not racists and white people emboldened to practice racism. That's generally what it is. Not the Democrats are emboldened to go out here and do right. Democrats and Hakeem Jeffries. Whew, man. Gus T. not emboldened, worthless Negro from Virginia. Context of White Supremacy. Hopefully to share constructive information. Embolden non-white people. Intended for victims of racism, not white people, so that we can learn a little bit more about what racism, white supremacy is, how it works on the job. Today's date, Thursday, September 25, 2025. So I have been told. Government shutdown, maybe. Said President Trump was promising more federal workers going to be fired. I said, dang, I thought him and Brother Elon, I thought that's how they started off the year. We're going to get to the end of the year and we're doing the same thing? Man. Not for spectators. If we have folks, federal employees still nervous about the firings and or individuals who preferably non-white people, victims of racism, who are not nervous about the firings, it would be grand. Let's hear from the victims of racism. I don't have no concerns about that. I don't have no concerns about no ICE raid, no furloughs, none of that. I am a valued employee. I don't have to lie for none of my racist coworkers. Never. I come in, I do my job honestly. I come in on time, punctual. I get paid correctly. I'm paid what I am worth as a valued member. I get all that. Hey, end of the year coming up. I don't have to sit here and plan and think, ooh, I got to avoid the old no-count Christmas party. Ooh, none of that. You are thinking, I got an obese bonus coming up in a few weeks. That's what you're thinking. Bonus time is a-coming, and it's going to be a big one. If you are in that position, let us know. How did you do it? Share as much detail as possible. Did you use the employee manual? Was it counter-racist logic? Mishmash of both? Is it nepotism? Is your grandmother in HR? Let us know. How did you do this? The number 720-716-7300. V code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Certainly, if you have difficulties being harassed, mistreated in the workplace, maybe you do not have an obese bonus to look forward to in a few weeks. You are not compensated correctly. You are concerned whether it's going to be, hey, we ain't doing no more DEI programs here, Leroy. Whatever the case may be, let us know. We will do our best, see if we can offer suggestions, help to solve problems without creating new problems in the workplace. The email untiljustice@gmail.com, untiljustice@gmail.com. You can email, let us know if you have thoughts, observations, problems in the workplace, and don't want to be identified. If you have a distinct voice like Gus T, untiljustice@gmail.com. Now, a few thoughts, some of the segments that we heard at the beginning. I'll start out with the social media. Now, Jimmy Kimmel is back. Now, I even, shared, hey, all of that could have been a publicity stunt. I don't know what the numbers are for Jimmy Kimmel on his return a couple days ago, but I'm sure it was more than 3 people who tuned in to hear what he had to say. All that being said, white people, even Jimmy Kimmel, they do not get fired. They get transferred. He didn't even get transferred. He just got like a couple days vacation. Anyway, for other white and non-white people, they talked about people getting in trouble for things that they posted on social media, getting fired, going over the legality of these terminations, and they pretty much said, yep, especially if it's private, even if you work for the government, federal job, even that, no guarantees, but definitely if you work for a private company, oh yeah, you are to run off at the mouth about Charlie Kirk if you want to. Now, I just go back, Dr. Kamal Kambon, total genius. He said more than a decade before all of this, on the air, right here with us, he said, hey, and it was a workplace context. It was, get off social media. You do not want them rifling through what you posted when you were in high school, college, caught up late one night, Mad Dog 2020, and you want to ramble about how obese he got on your nerves. None of that. Off of social media. If you are going to stay on what they call it, have your burner account or what have you, it cannot be in your name, no identifying information. I'm not going to have my pics and all that up there. Nah. None of that. No way. You can have me. I done lost a job because I got on here and you say I sass-mouth Charlie Kirk. They even had some white people say they called Charlie Kirk a Nazi. You're out of here. You can't teach here. That would be another one. If you have any sort of job, I say, see if you can get the policy and procedure before you take the job. You want to know that. I wouldn't care if you have a job, you work for the NFL, you work for your local school board, you work for Tesla, you work for McDonald's. Do they have some sort of social media policy? I get on here and, I'm upset. J.D. Vance got on my nerves this week. I'm going to get on here and talk trash about he and his book. They say, whoa, we seen what you said about Vice President. We can't have you working on chicken nuggets this week. What you said, you out of here. Check that policy in full effect, and then I would make it known to everybody there. I don't do social media. I would tell them that at the hiring. I don't have no Twitter, Facebook, none of that. And then the same thing I've said before, that means I'm not so-called friends on social media with no one I work with. None of them. White, non-white, I don't care. Because I don't do social media. Even if I got burner accounts, as far as you all are concerned, I don't do social media. Can't be no non-white person. I'm getting in trouble over, nonsense of that nature. Please, that means if you got burner accounts, I don't check them in the workplace. And same thing I would encourage our caller at the courthouse in Florida. Conversely, since I'm not on social media, I do check my white coworkers from time to time if I get a free moment. Are they on social media? What are they talking about? See if they done called Obese a Negra, Kamala Harris, Next, they had the segment. They were talking about the concern for so-called DEI. So what is the future of DEI going to look like? Colleges and workplace and all that. And President Trump basically told us, brother Elon, getting all that stuff out of here. Do no more diversity, equity, inclusion. Fine, all well and good. So they bring Paulette Granberry Russell onto PBS. Again, it's Paulette Granberry, Granberry Russell, no hyphen. Now, I just looked. I'd never heard of Miss Granberry Russell in my life until this report. So I looked to see what she looked like. And this is audio, too, so it's not like I was looking at her. I looked, and the images that I saw, I would suspect that this is a white person, Paulette Granberry Russell. I could be wrong. She could be racially ambiguous, but I thought that she'd be accepted as white. You all can look, see what you think. But she was on the report where they were talking about DEI and what's it going to look like, and are we going to have non-white people at schools and such. Now, one, I do think it's important if they're talking about all this and you get somebody white on to talk about these issues, and then they begin the conversation. She said, this is directly from the transcript, I think across the country, we've seen efforts both at the state level and certainly more recently with the executive orders to dismantle diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. We are seeing women's centers. We're seeing centers for members of the LGBTQ community and other cultural spaces that are being closed or defunded. Now, that's the sort of thing that I say right there. Plenty of non-white people, victims of racism, do this also, but you got a whole big chunky segment that they spent, around 5 minutes discussing this issue that's supposed to be important. You go to the Supreme Court all the time about affirmative action and DEI and all this. The president comes out and talk about it. They've been hand-wringing about this for decades. You do this whole big report. The term racism is not said at all. Not one time. That's what all the DEI and affirmative action, that's what it's about. White supremacy, racism. We don't say that at all. And then they start off not with, man, they messed us up and how non-white people are suffering and black people can't get this. No. Women's centers closing. Hey, buddy, I'm going to tell you, white women are not suffering on no college campuses. The white queer women, white transgender, none of them. White women have taken over college campuses, and for a long time, they greatly outnumber the dudes. So whatever, for all I guess maybe they lose the whole university as kind of a women's center at this juncture. But whatever, if they say, even if that's true, I've been to the University of Washington. It don't look like their women's center is in danger of closing, losing funding. They brought guests in that were specifically for the women's department at UW from France. They didn't have no bake sale. We got to sell cupcakes and brownies so that we can keep up the women's center at UW. I'm going to go back. The quarter just started this week. I'll go back next weekend. I'll let you know if I see any advertisements, flyers. Oh, my Lord, patriarchy's done it again. And then, what was number two? They didn't even get us colored folks. They didn't get no BIPOC or none of the other tacky phrases that they put on it. It was LGBTQI, all of that. You messing over the queers, and I'm going to tell you again, UW, I don't see no evidence that the white queers and gays and lesbians and transgenders that, oh man, we just having a tough time, we ain't going to make it. I don't see no evidence of that at all, at all, at all. I tell you another thing I don't see no evidence of, Negroes, because they don't have no whole lot of black people at UW. Matter of fact, I accidentally went to the UW campus yesterday, and I kind of forgot that the quarter is starting, I think, like yesterday or today, this week, whatever. But the influx of the student body is like 50,000, maybe a crumb under that, but it's massive. When you go there, like in the summertime, when all that's gone, and then you come back and they're running all that crazy energy and the substances that they're on and everything. Man, quite a bummer. It takes me a week or so to let all that settle down before I even want to go back to campus. But they are back in full flux. UW, just in time for the Apple Cup. You see we won Sunday? Anyway, but they got all the LGBTQ in there with Paulette Granberry Russell, and they asked her about the same nonsense. Or even before we got to all that, they said the Trump administration this week announced a $500 million increase in funding to historically black colleges and universities, while at the same time cutting funding for colleges that mainly serve Hispanic students. How does that fit in? Now, number one, that's probably money that they owed HBCUs anyway. All of the chronic, that's probably a drop in the bucket. That's probably not even a tenth of what has been stolen and the money that's owed to those HBCUs anyway. That said, he said that they cut funding for colleges that mainly serve Hispanic students, whatever that means. It almost sounds like they're going to do what? You going to look out for your black brothers. You're not going to look out for the people that are getting looked out for are white. And I would even have to say now, this $500 million, because they love to do the okie doke. I saw that with the farmers before, where they'll set aside money and say, we're going to hook up the black farmers. And now you see it, and then now you don't. So I would even have to wait. Let's see. Is FAMU going to get this money? The black brother at the courthouse, he said his white coworker, she breaks the rules and wears her Rattler paraphernalia all the time. Let's see. Do they get this money? Howard, Morehouse, Spelman, do they get this money? Grambling, Southern, it's lots of it. And I mean, really, $500 million, by the time you start counting up all of the HBCUs that exist, that's why I said from the beginning, like, am I supposed to jump up and down and celebrate? Like, if you said each HBCU was getting, $500, or even if he said each HBCU, they're going to get $2 million, $5 million. I'm like, oh, wow, that's, right on. That's pretty good. Whatever. The same thing I would have said, though. Hey, that is a drop in the bucket to the amount of money that's been stolen to them. That still ain't nothing to have no parade about. But I mean, if it's $500 million, by the time y'all steal and do everything else and then give that, I mean, that's not even enough money for a scholarship. Like, man, we can't even have no chitlin bake-off with that. Maybe I don't know enough of the details about all that. But anyway, let's see. So they give out, or I guess they give out a little bit of money there and do there. We give out money, but provided you don't do no DEI. Talking about racism, I guess. Maybe that's other strings attached too. Maybe we give you the money, but you got to do some LGBTQ programs or whatever the case may be. Who knows? Anyway, so then they had the segment. They were talking about anxiety amongst young people that AI is going to take all the jobs. I was slightly taken aback because the first job that they talked about was they had a young fella. He said, I'm going to school. I was thinking about law school, but I don't know if I want to be saddled with all that debt. And then you end up having AI doing all the legal work in the future. I really had not heard that AI is going to be doing all the lawyering in 10, 15 years or so. Like, really? Wow. I mean, I guess that I'm not intelligent on much of anything, but wow. Like, okay. I guess on the one, if it works out well, they do arrest a lot of Leroys. So maybe that's something to look forward to. You got a lot of black people who rely on public defenders. Maybe we could all get a really good AI version of Johnny Cochran and get out. So, but dang, like, I don't know. I hadn't thought of that I might be discouraged from going into law because AI is going to take over. And so they went and were doing. That's why I said, like, that sort of planning and thinking, that's what you signed up for if you are an attempted parent. We're going to have to sit down and do this together. And what are you interested in, little Leroy Jr.? What are you interested in, Lakeisha? What do you think you want to do through the course of replacing white supremacy with justice? What do you want to do while we're getting that done? I say, I don't know. I like computers. And so, well, let's see. Computer programming. No, look like AI going to take that one. You just go through and try and do the best you can. And that's one you kind of have to be looking on a regular basis as it changes, the technology evolves. Like, woof, what can I even pick that the bots aren't going to take from us? Particularly something that I'll be able to do this long term, not for a year or two, but I'm not getting in on the tail end of it just as the bots are about to perfect this and take it permanently. Lots to process and think about, particularly for younger folks. And in that vein, they had the Report YouTube channel that talks all about workplace issues, white man. And he said he was talking specifically about younger people, saying, hey, if you're starting out in your career, what do you tell when you go on a potential job interview? What do you say if you don't have work experience per se, and how you respond to deadlines? How do you work with teams? What do you do when you encounter a problem? And I thought that was great in terms of using your classroom experience, especially if it's college. Why do you go through all that, putting it on the application? Asking, did you get this degree and that degree and how long it took and all of that? Use that. That's another one where I say, too, make sure you are engaged in constructive activities. Even if you are not gainfully employed and you're still trying to get that career track going, do other constructive things. If you can volunteer, if you're about replacing white supremacy with justice, use your time and energy constructively, because you can get some of that experience where you've worked on projects, done volunteer efforts, where you have done team building, you've done networking, you've answered or been able to perfectly meet deadlines. Might even be printing if you had to get some flyers together for some sort of project for a volunteer organization, but use that where you get professional experience, even in a volunteer capacity. Use that so it shows, hey, I'm about using my time and energy in a constructive manner, acquiring skills and knowledge that make me a valuable asset in any workplace. I would say, especially, that's one where we were talking about soft skills before last week, that as well. But I think school and volunteer experience can be great if you've been doing constructive things in either of those capacities. Let's see. The section black brother Mohammed Magazuva in the Prince George's County, Maryland Police Department, black male. Now, he's one of them pretend black dudes, Ghanaian black brothers. So, but he's captain, police department, and they said his troubles began. He was asked to lie, go along with them beating down a black female. I don't know if she was a pretend black female or not, but either way, a black female, and he didn't want to go along with their lie to justify why we had to rough up this black female. What? Wonders never cease. I mean, Leroy defending a black female? Really? I guess we got the name here. So Mr. Captain Magazuva defending a black female? Well, we might even be able to overlook the fact that this is a pretend black dude, right? Maybe? Anyway, but he said they started mistreating him, what have you, once he decided, I'm not going to lie for you white people in Prince George's County. Now, one, that reminded me, I have heard from a number of non-white people, some of them COWS listeners, who insist if you are classified as black and you get a badge, a nigger knocker, and you go out here, I'm going to jump in my police car, you are now classified as white. You are working for the man, the woman, whitey. Victims guaranteed qualified. I said, I've seen no evidence that taking any job changes your racial classification. That's the big piece of logic evidence. And then the other one, I've seen lots of illustrations where people classified as not white have been enforcement officials, and they have from a very weak and I'd say dangerous position, because most of us don't work jobs where our coworkers are armed, proficient with a firearm that's on their hip currently. That's not the work environment for most of us. But I have heard a number of reports of black males and black females in a police capacity where they still try to counter racism, point out incorrect things, even when it is at great personal risk to themselves. That notwithstanding, that might be a big one to think about in advance. If you're going to take a job as an enforcement official, or really any job where they come at you and we're going to do something incorrect, especially if we're going to do something incorrect to harm another black person, and we need you, Leroy, Lakeisha, to co-sign on this with us. Like, what? Wait a minute. And it might even be, because I don't think, unless I heard it wrong, I don't think they asked Mr. Magazuva to participate in the beating. I don't think that was the case. I think it was just an after the fact. We need to go and write this up, and we're gonna say this old nigger woman, she had crack cocaine. You know, they're mouthy. Yeah, that's the way we write it. Yeah, she was mouthy, crack cocaine. She had a razor too. That's what I'm gonna say. You saw it too, didn't you? Muga. You saw it too, didn't you? And he say, Muhammad Magazuva. He said, what? One, my name is not Muga. Two, no, I didn't see no razor. No, I'm not going to say that we signed up to, protect. I'm not going to lie. Y'all done sat out there and did all of this. And look here, Mugga, you going to play by the books or not, Mugga? That's the sort of thing you would want to know in advance before you any sort of job, and be honest about that. Now, if they're going to be into a whole lot of corrupt and I got to lie to do this and all that, man, am I going to stay on this job? We talked about that before. Sometimes you might even have to, hey, I can't even do this. I'm not going to sit up here and lie and all this other. Like, man, next time they might want me to participate in the beating. Get your nigger knocker and let's go. Like, wait a minute. That's not even what I signed up for. Think about all that in advance. And really, for any job, think about all that in advance. Maybe even with a lean towards, we are supposed to be replacing white supremacy with justice. Now, I didn't sign up for no job where, I'm doing the exact opposite. I got to go out here and smack around Lakeisha. Like, wait a minute, that's not even, wait a minute. And there might be more job opportunities where that's what it is. I missed one today because it was a bunch. It was a lot of job-related things that came out today because they got the shutdown and we're going to do some more firings and blah, blah, blah. But they had a report about ICE hirings where they had white supremacist literature in the ICE hiring pamphlets, which not that I'm surprised about. I had said this before I even saw the report. I had said, what they should do? They should get pictures of when them no-count pretend black people from Haiti, when they were trying to cross the border at Mexico. Remember that? That was like a year, 2 years ago. And they had the ICE agents, they were on horsebacks and they had whips. It was, like super plantational. They were on horses and they had the whips like, yeah, get out of here. Yeah, we remember. Yeah, get back over to Haiti. Yeah, remember that? That's what they should put in the brochure. Like, oh my Lord, are you tired of being crammed in a cubicle? Are you tired of people telling you you got to wear a mask? You got to are you tired of DEI? You want to whip some niggers? Hey. Do you want to whip some niggers? We're not being figurative. This ain't no lame metaphor. We got a leather strap, a horse, and dark people to be beaten. Do you want to whip some niggers? And you put that picture, whoo, you get into the white spirit. I didn't even play that one. I didn't even play that one because it's so much. It was bunches of reports all about the job. And Charlie Kirk, because they're still talking about, people getting fired for mouthing off about that too. So anyway, did we get anybody? Did you see the ICE employment recruiting fairs? Have they tried to get you to come work with them? Dear God, do not spectate anybody. If they had the ICE housing fairs, if you have been recruited, or if you even work there, maybe we got some folks who work for ICE, let us know. I would lose my mind. Give us as much information as you can without, getting in trouble. But just, how did you get this job? How were you recruited? Did they have pictures of the ICE agents on the horses with the, get out of here, Tucson. Let us know. And then I guess again, the federal employees, you've been nervous all year long, and there's no end in sight. We started the year, you've been fired. Well, maybe not. Yes, you have. And we get through all that, and Brother Elon then left, and now we got the shutdown, and President Trump threatening more federal employees. You're fired, or you will be soon. Man. Any other federal employees feeling nervous, squirreled, or maybe feeling less nervous if you've been intelligent and squirreled your nickels away since Brother Elon and the way things started at the beginning of 2025? But let us know if we have federal employees nervously watching all of this to see what unfolds. Number again, 720-716-7300. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Certainly, if we have federal workers, let us know. And then, I reckon if the Charlie Kirk thing, did people get in trouble on your job? People trying to make you talk about any of that over the past week or so? You had to flex your counter-racist, I don't discuss politics in the workplace. I haven't even been keeping up with all that. Ain't got no comment. Or if some people got fired, you can let us know that one as well. But star 61, if we have folks, if you have your own personal situation, problems, difficulties in the workplace, let us know. We'll do our best to be logical. And then hopefully we have some folks, hey, we have some wins. You got a raise. You got a promotion. You got a bonus. Or you got hired. That's always a good one too. Or you stopped some mistreatment in the workplace. All of those are W's. Always glad to hear about those. Non-white people getting a raise for sure. Let's see. Folks who have commentary to share. Looks like folks might be spectating for the moment. We'll give them a second, see if they have thoughts, observations. Again, I point this out. We have lots of non-white people who will contact me to talk about what they watched on television, movies, Netflix, Hulu, the workplace. That is what is important to discuss. Things that are happening on the job, and especially if we have figured out codification, counter-racist logic to neutralize racist activity in the workplace. That's it. I'll get in one email while folks are spectating. Our TuneIn feed, I submitted the link to update the feed so it's not streaming live, but I added you can listen live online. I posted the link online, all of our social media pages. Click the link, you can listen easily online, and hopefully by the time we get to the Catherine Massey Book Club tomorrow, the stream will be updated. So if you listen on TuneIn or my blog or wherever else for the live broadcast, you will be able to go back to doing that easily. About 24 hours, hopefully, but we shall see. Anywho, email number one, the email again, untiljustice@gmail.com. Email number 1. Hi, Gus and Cal's audience. I previously reported I've been experiencing back problems which started in 2023. It began with hip problems, which I thought was an injury from jogging, even though I couldn't remember hurting myself. I was also experiencing lower back and sciatic nerve pain. I was allocated a desk so I wouldn't need to hot desk when I'm in the office. I was also given an additional laptop so I wouldn't need to carry one to and from the office, all of which I had to argue to get. The assessor, white man, practiced racism by not including the second laptop in the assessment report. Shauna, former manager, non-white black female, did not support me getting these adjustments. I strongly suspect she tried to block the second laptop and that the HR issued it regardless, because when I told her I received it, she was shocked. What? Gave this nigga woman a what? What? Incidentally, just because I saw this today and this was workplace, there's a privileged black male, and extra privileged because he played professional football. And that's like exactly the field where they say, see, you old black dudes are privileged because you go out there and play football and make all this money and become big stars and make videos and all the rest of it, marry white women, that crazy. So John Abrams, privileged black male, played professional football for many, many years, made a lot of money. He said he hit his head while playing football. He said his vision blurred. He started seeing stars. He said he told his coach, white man, like the assessor, and the coach told him, you are faking it, privileged black male. Now get back out there and stop talking about it's stars. It's broad daylight and you didn't see any stars. It's not blurry either. Now get back out there and put your helmet on. He has brain bleeds, has difficulty remembering his football career, although they tell him it was stellar. He was amazing. He doesn't remember. Any hoodles. I joined the gym to strengthen my muscles and lose excess weight. This helps some, but not enough. So at the end of August, I went to see an osteopath. Turns out I do not have physical issues causing back problems, causing the back and hip problems. I've been experiencing it's all stress. I also had knots in my shoulder and upper back and constantly grind my teeth, especially at night. I realized that this was stress related, but not my lower back and hip problems. The stress was so bad that I started experiencing foot problems. Sheesh. The osteopath worked on my back, hips, and feet, which made so much difference. I also use progressive muscle relaxation techniques before bed and first thing in the morning before I get out of bed. I feel and move so much freer and can sleep through the night. No more teeth grinding or stiffness. Hopefully this is useful for others using the platform. They've been terrorizing me so much on the plantation I couldn't write into Workplace Racism broadcast for a few weeks, but will report next week. I am applying for jobs with many exclamation points. Best of luck with the job application process. And I do think that that's really important, recognizing how stress from the workplace can impact our bodies, mind, health. I think that's something that we might not, as she said, might not even be aware of, that it's causing us so much stress. You just think, oh man, maybe I tweaked my back, doing this, or maybe my shoes are messed up, and maybe that could be the case, but it also could be that, man, the workplace is causing me so much trauma that I'm really not able to think. I'm really not even in a healthy manner right now. It's just being manifested in me having all these little pains and aches and tightness and cramps in my body that just I am not at ease, that this environment is decimating my well-being and my sense of being at ease, even when I'm away from the job. That happens for so many of us. I know Pam talked about that, wrote about that as well, that manifests in so many victims of racism, where they got all this mistreatment in the workplace for 40, 50 hours a week. My black brother, Muhammad Magazuva, where you go to work and they're telling you to lie so that they can get away with some mistreatment or whatever the case may be. And then you got to go home and think about that. Like, what? Can you believe that they did that? And I said that you can't sleep, end up not being able to eat, end up being upset, anxious, combination, all of the above, overeating to compensate, alcohol. I mean, it can just be really, really bad. And like I said, too, sometimes we're not even really aware that that's what it is. It's the workplace that we just, constantly being upset, angry about that, anxious. Am I going to be fired? We've been talking about that from the beginning of the year when they were talking about, these federal firings that having people in a position where they are just constantly, ooh, am I going to be fired today? I'll be fired this week. Am I going to have a job next month? Ooh, just having people in that state of mind, Jesus, that is terrible for your health and well-being, which I'm sure many folks can attest to now that we've had, full year of this. But man, I mean, and they require you to have a job. So I think the best thing, really what she wrote in, that's one of the best things that you can do. Grasp, be mindful of your health and well-being, and to not downplay that stuff like, oh, I'm gonna tough through it, I'm gonna soldier through it. Like, no. You are not supposed to soldier through aches and pains for 10, 20 years. And then whoa, wait a minute. Is the job the source of it? This is not bad shoes, or I'm not exercising, or I ate too many Cheetos. This is the job is causing this level of stress, me grinding my teeth and that sort of thing. Maybe I'm not sleeping well. Oof. Yes. Update resume, and lots to work on, because that is your body telling you in a clear, explicit manner, this is not a healthy environment for you. We need something different, something better. Not saying that the next job will not have racists, not saying that at all, but at least this environment, see if we can get a better plantation till we replace white supremacy with justice. Very important to keep that resume updated. Say that all the time. Let's see. The email again, untiljustice@gmail.com. Untiljustice@gmail.com. The number 720-716-7300. The code 564-943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. We'll nab other folks, see if they being treated correctly as we move into autumn, all of your bonuses, raises, all of that, or if we have other folks having any sort of mistreatment in the workplace, see if we can have any logical suggestions on dealing with that. Let's see. Folks are spectating. Again, hopefully we don't have federal employees who are spectating if they're, having to deal with the possible firings from President Trump for a second time around this calendar year. Incidentally, this would be another one. Now, I know, like I said, I know this is not fun. Not one of those where I would be excited about, but I think it is super important to talk to your offspring even about this, that, hey, I did exactly what white people said. Go to school, didn't do drugs, show up on time, go to work, not out here acting a fool, running the streets and all that, selling drugs, blah, blah, blah. Okay, got a federal government job and everything. I didn't mess around and just try and go and I'm going to just waste my time and do something that's not going to be too stressful. I don't have to work my brain computer too hard. I could have went and worked at McDonald's, something like that. No, I'm going to support my country and work for my government, help people out, boom, boom, all that. And now I'm going to be fired. And then, so I said, great illustration. You can say all the time, you don't have to do anything incorrect. This isn't, I got fired because I'm late, lazy, couldn't show to work on time, shiftless, didn't get my assignments done. None of that. Great employee, always punctual, always get, all of my duties, tasks done, competent, not flirting with the white women on the job. None of that. Great employee, but hey, it might just be who won the election in November. Wrong candidate, wrong racist won, and now I got no job. That's a lesson for your child. Like, what? Do what? Did you vote? Yeah, I voted. Hey, that's just the way it goes sometimes. That is the system of white supremacy racism. Like, do what? Do what? Talk to your children honestly about the system of white supremacy racism, and especially the workplace, so that they can have accurate expectations about what all of this is, and even an accurate understanding of, wow, this is everything mom and dad, they got to go through. I'm in here whining, get these new shoes and whining about this iPhone, and dang. I'll keep that in mind, and then am I going to have to deal like, oh my Lord, that's what I got to look like? Woo. Keep that in mind when you're making your decisions for that job. Like, what is the AI going to be doing? What are the racists going to be doing? Be more informed about my choices. Number again, 720-716-7300. The code 564-943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Let's see. Folks who dialed in with a hand up. Victim times 3 should be with us. If you have commentary, proceed.
May I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Gus. Thank you for taking my call. Greetings to all the Cal listeners and callers. I believe I spoke last week, and I said my brother, I guess, lost both jobs last week. This week, I've been attempting to help him acquire a new job where I currently work. So hopefully he can get that in order and quickly change the situation around. A couple things have been happening at my work site. I guess the department I work for, they try to organize different events to keep the morale of different workers up. One of the things that they just had was some kind of bowling night. It's throughout the whole, I guess, region. So it's different officers going out bowling. I didn't see the constructive nature in that, so I didn't go. And they have an event coming this weekend, which is going to be another, I guess, outing. And these are mixtures of non-white, non-black people, black people, and white people suspected racist. So I was asked, was I going? And I again said, no, I will not be attending. And this following week, I will be on a week-long vacation, so I can work on self-care and decompressing from all of the racist aggression I get from white people on the job, and unfortunately the anti-blackness that I do receive the most at my job from non-white black people. At this location, I will say that there are non-white Black people who are attempting to do things that are very constructive, considering that the job that we do have is a sit-down job. A couple of the employees took it upon themselves to acquire one of the big, hall rooms, the big conference rooms, and to utilize that for, a workout room to a degree. So they have 2 sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. I think it's very constructive. It gets a lot of the non-white people who normally would not get any type of exercise today to get up and do, 15 minutes of marching in place or something to that effect. So that is a little bit that's going on in my location so far. I did not get a chance to hear any of the clips to respond to those. That'll be it for me, Gus. Thank you for taking my call.
Much obliged, Victim Cubed. I remember from last week you telling us about your brother, and he was feeling okay at first because he had a backup job, and then that fell through as well. Plantation privileged Black males. But right on, looking out, I even was thinking like, wow, this seems like it might be one of the few times that we have nepotism working for the non-white person. Say yes. See if I can get my brother in the door here. But right on, that is, I don't think too many non-white people are in that predicament where they have a sibling or uncle, brother, whatever, in a job situation where they can help them get employment if something comes up. But right on, all these little, and this is that time of year, so it's almost October. So some jobs, they have the Halloween parties, might be a Thanksgiving get together, or at least a Thanksgiving potluck type thing where we gotta eat some food together. And then for sure Christmas, end of the year, Hanukkah, all that goofiness. They might even mess around and do Hanukkah now. Oh buddy, get your code in place. Now he said, oh no, I'm not, I'm good, I'm not doing all this. He said they will nag. Can't just be we gonna take no and leave it at that. Come out. You sure you're not gonna go? And they might come with an attitude. They might get non-white people to come. They might even get non-white people that they see that you have a quality rapport, and they'll send them like that. Come on now, Leroy, what's wrong with you? The party wouldn't even be the same without you. And come on, you got to do the happy hour. What's wrong with you, Leroy? Come on now. No, thank you. I would try and say, as little as so this doesn't go on and come on. No, I'm good. I'm sure you all have a grand old time, but nah, I'm good. They will arm twist and pout and all the rest of it. I've already said, if it's something where you're working a type of a job where I think I'm going to try and stay here for 20 years, 10 years, whatever the case may be, and it might be consequences. You don't come to the, Thanksgiving shindig or whatever it is. They get upset. They hold a grudge for the next, 10 years on the job or something if you don't do that. So you want to know that in advance, and you just have a code for that too. If it's one of those where I got to go or I'm not going to get my bonus at the end of the year, I'm going to need to go. We just stay for 30 minutes or whatever. But if it's not one of those jobs, I'm not required. It's not going to be no consequences or whatever. And this might not even be, it sounds like this isn't the end of the year one. Oh, no, I'm good. We had the young lady, she wrote in and she told us they had to travel like 150 miles or something goofy like that. Nah, I'm good. Nope, I'm good. It's not up for that. That's why I said I'm not saying a whole lot because this is not up for negotiation. I'm not going to change my mind. There's nothing you can do to sweeten the pot on this one and make me reconsider. Like, no. Y'all have a grand old time, and you tell me. I'm sure you all have pictures, all that good stuff. You can tell me about it when you get back. Thank you kindly. Let's see. Bravo, and you can let us know if they, I guess, have consequences. Try and fuss at you about that one. You can let us know, I reckon. Let's see. Much obliged. Victim cubed. The number again, 720-716-7300. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. The email untiljustice@gmail.com. Now he said the non-white people at work that they, tend to be about constructive things, and they made a whole workout room for people. They can come. I get the end of the year is coming up, so you can eat all that chocolate and turkey and stuffing and pie and everything else that they have for Christmas. He said they made a little workout room so people can come in, do their exercise and all that. Right on. Whoopee for them. I don't know how that would. I'm just thinking about my workplaces. It would seem like you would need a lot of buy-in from people to make that sort of thing happen, like the space, and then it depends if they have equipment or not, or if it's real minimal, like if they just have some yoga mats type of a thing, maybe a few free weights type, just whatever. But bravo for them in making it constructive and encouraging folks being a little bit healthier. We were just talking about health, encouraging folks to think about all of that, even if it's, you just go in there for 10, 15 minutes and do some steps or, whatever it is. Bravo. I could see if that's something, particularly if it's, this is the Negro workout area, if that's how they're thinking of it, that's the people that put it together and they use it like, oh no, we're going to need this space. We got to put the copier in there or whatever. There we got recycling. Yeah, we got to move the recycling over there. We got lots of or the shredder. We got to put the shredder in there. It's got to be in a secure room. So sorry, the Negro workout room has no more. That sort of thing. I would not be surprised at all if it has that sort of connotation, particularly since he said the non-white people are constructive. It's been my experience. Racists do not encourage non-white people doing constructive things. So bravo for them. I would just be mindful of that. I'm even thinking in my brain computer, would I use such a room? Not everything, there's nothing incorrect about what they did, just, I'm going through in my brain computer because non-Clemson dad, he was doing yoga in his office. And the white woman thought he was a Negro rapist. And he had the door closed, too. And she thought he was a Negro rapist. So, I don't know. Do you use the work, what do we call it, workout room or activity room? Do you use it to go in there and, de-stress for a moment or two, jog in place, think quietly? Do you use the room?
This room is a main conference room. And when it's not being used for conferences, it's kind of like a multi-purpose room because it's also used for meetings with different supervisors and their staff. But if it's not being used, it's being used at those given times for the aerobics. The morning aerobics is like walking in place for 15 minutes at an accelerated pace. I myself, I participated in a couple of the classes to see how rigorous the workout is, and it's pretty rigorous. Towards the afternoon, they have a couple different options. Like certain days they do stretching. Other days they do some kind of line dancing or something to that effect. I haven't participated in those, just the morning one for me.
I see. To your knowledge, does it seem like it's mostly non-white people, mostly white people, and even kind of mixture?
It's more so non-white black females, and then a couple of non-white, non-black females. Most only male that I see ever go in there is a white male.
How interesting.
A white man, I should say. Sorry.
Fascinating. Fascinating. Yeah, that's interesting. That is very interesting. Like, one, what is he doing there? Like, is he cool with one of the chicks there? That would be interesting. Like, how did you get, drawn into all this? One, and then two, like, yeah, how long, they'll be allowed to do this as long as everybody wants to, as long as this group is employed there, they allow this to go. Like, wow, like I said, they didn't do anything incorrect. Bravo to them. Health is important. Get some moving around, burn a few calories. Spectacular. But I would not be surprised either, just based on my knowledge and understanding of what it means to be classified as white. If it becomes, like you said, it seems like this is mostly non-white people in there doing something constructive. It would not surprise me at all if they just come randomly at some point, like, oh no, we'll have to find a different place. Like, yeah, we got a scheduling conflict, or they'll give some nonsense like, yeah, we have to do the aerobics someplace else, or cancel it altogether. Like, yeah, we can't have aerobics in the conference room. We got serious business to take care of. I could easily see that happening down the road, but hopefully something you all can continue, because that does sound, I absolutely support people, but non-white people exercise, drink a little water afterwards. Like, man, 2 thumbs up. So yeah, bro, I would keep an eye on the white fella. So you here to spy on us? Like, just, I would keep an eye on the white fella. But anyway, bravo to them. Let us know. Yeah, just let us know if they allow all this to continue unmolested, except for him. Number again, 720-716-7300. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Again, we have federal employees. Let us know. Did Charlie Kirk come up in your goofy workplace? I shouldn't say goofy, racist. Did Charlie Kirk come up? People trying to goad you into talking about all that or other aspects of politics. Real talk, I wouldn't talk about the firings of federal workers either. I said that at the beginning of the year. I don't have nothing to say about Elon Musk, the president, none of that. That is not in our job description. I would not, if it's a non-white person, if it's my mom, if it was my grandmother. We need to talk about this later on, Grandma. Like, no politics in the workplace. And I should have already told you this. Like, you should know better, Grandma. I already told you this. Trying to get me in trouble. Try to get us both fired, really. Have me oversleeping on your couch. Come on now. That's what it would be like. No politics in the workplace, period. You can even say that. I've said that before. No politics in the workplace. It's been so crazy with the equinox and everything. I haven't even been able to keep up with all that, which would also, for sure, would be true. They just had the shooting at the ICE detention facility. So we shoot up so many people in this part of the world. Like, I'm supposed to be talking about the shooting last week. I didn't even get all the information on the shooting this week. I can't talk about neither one of them. But yeah, we did not, even with other black people. I cannot say that enough. Even with other black people, like for real black people, with 8 black grandparents, all born in South Carolina, even then, I have nothing to say about any of these events. Nothing. Charlie Kirk, Trump, none of it. J.D. Vance, none of it. None of it. Nothing. I don't have nothing to say about the football season either. Nothing. Have me fighting again, even if the person that I'm talking to, even if they sound like, we might have total agreement. So it's not like we're going to have an argument. It's just going to be a lot of, right on, sister. Tell it, brother. That's right. Even if I thought that's what it's going to be. Again, now, everybody that we work with, they are not all going to agree with us. And then, two, you don't know what sort of recording devices they got around it. We are not paid to sit around and discuss politics, none of it, even with other coworkers who agree with us. That's not what we're paid for. I wouldn't even do that at none of these. The retreat Black brother was just telling us about that he's not going to. Even if he did attend, I'm not talking about no Charlie Kirk. Wait for us. Matter of fact, that's how a lot of those, whatever you want to call them, company outings and things, away days, especially when liquor is involved. These employees go out there talking about whatever. Trump comes up, the tariffs, we're going to fire the federal employees, the furlough, whatever. All of that comes up, and now, there we go. Now we got to get into the racist jokes and all the rest of it, because I had a few whiskeys in me now. Once I get the Jameson flowing, hey. Even if you got to attend one of those, I'm not talking about no politics. I know we're not at the office technically, but this is still a work event. In fact, that might even be a better time. You think I'm going to get that raise? We out here chilling at the company. Like that might be, everybody is relaxed. That might be the time. Maybe I can get that raise, the bonus. Any hoodles. Let's see. Other folks who dialed in, *61. If we have federal employees. Let's see. Bay Area mommy should be with us as well. They were talking about the teachers. Said make sure you know if you're an educator, don't get on your social media thinking you can just say anything you want to. Like,
Can I be heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Greetings to you. Thank you for taking my call. What did you say something before? Because I just got a chance to listen in. Was there something that I could respond to before I start rambling?
No, I just said you cannot be an educator and be on social media talking reckless. That's all.
No, you can't. We have educators that go on social media with saying stuff about the kids already. So, yeah, you can't do that. Workplace racism. So, yesterday, there was a kerfuffle between a parent and a staff member that's been going on since last year when I got there. They didn't protect the teacher. They're not taking anything serious when these parents come up to threaten you. So yesterday, a parent went and snatched the teacher up in class in front of the kids, socked her in the eye, and left. Cussed out the kid on the way out because the kid, sometimes kids, they don't, our children, because we don't discipline them, they just say anything, do anything. So the lady thought somebody was taking a picture of her, the adult that was with this little girl, because on top of that, we break all kind of rules. We'll either walk these kids home because the parents, they hang out at the local liquor store. So this particular person was taking this little girl home, and then the lady started fussing at this person. And the lady was like, well, no, I'm not taking a picture of your car. I'm just calling her dad. And so she said something, and the little girl was like, don't you be talking to her like that. Don't be talking to her like that. Da-da-da-da-da-da. And so she said, B, I'll beat your brother. Go get your mama, B. Go get your mama, B. Da-da-da-da. So the little girl, whatever. I don't care. So the lady just hollered, because I'm at the window. I could hear upstairs, because where I'm at, it's close to the front. It's upstairs where the front doors are. So I hear all this stuff. And then the lady's arguing with the girl. So she turns around. So, of course, we have liquor stores on every corner. So the little girl's dad was at the corner liquor store. And he's like, hey, that's my daughter you talking to. So she's like, I had a bad day. And, I didn't know that was your daughter. She didn't stand in child's place. I'm sorry. I didn't know that was your daughter. That kind of thing. So then the dad going to say, okay, take her home, talking to the girl that was taking her home because we just do too much. So she went and took the girl home. Moving forward, the lady, of course, didn't come back to class, to work today, the one that got hit in the eye, nor did the teacher that she's helping come back to work either. Not today. Maybe they'll come back tomorrow, Monday, because we don't really have to come in tomorrow, but we still get the full day's pay. Now, the principal, we had a little huddle. We usually have our huddles on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but today was an emergency huddle. So we had a huddle. The principal in there crying. I missed all the theatrics. So it's the new principal, lady principal. So she's in there crying, feeling away because it's a heavy load she picked up. That's probably a metaphor. It's a hard school. It's a hard school. You're in the heart of West Oakland, and you're dealing with these parents and their children. So that was the day. So now parents can't come on campus. So the lady that used to work there that was stalking the music teacher, that got the tattoo of the music teacher's first and middle name on her arm, she comes up there. So she comes late so she can go up to his room and stalk him in his room. So he has a code with another speech lady, and he'll say, hooty hoo, or something like that, and then she'll come and save him. Oh, can you help me do this or do this? But this time the girl didn't leave. He helped her, the lady, they did the little code, and then he helped, but the lady never left. Mind you, she's banging all on the doors just to get in. So the principal had to come up there and escort her. She's looking at the principal like she want to fight the principal. And it's just like, well, you can't have parents on campus. You just say your goodbyes at the door. You don't even have to come all the way upstairs. There's no reason for her to be upstairs, even if it was for her kid, because kids her child age are downstairs. There's no reason for her to be upstairs, not in the music room. That's an elective, there's no reason for her to be in this man's room stalking him. So that happened. So then her brother ended up having to come and pick the little boy up because I guess she felt away, whatever way that is, because she got escorted off our campus. Just to show you how strange these parents are. The little boy, 140 pounds, 8 years old. So his mom does not want to send him to the school that he needs to go to. She wants to force us to deal with him. And she brings the curriculum. She forced this laptop. I guess she wants us to do this curriculum with him, and she's got these texts on her computer. And she went to Kaiser, and it's considered a medical device, so he has to have it. But nobody's complying with that. She's forcing the school to deal with her son. She even came in. I brought crayons in there for after school just to store them in there. She told them he can't have any crayons in here. No crayons in here. They're not for him. The Tech Hub is a large office space that has been turned into a nursery for this boy. We have books everywhere that we have to shove aside just to accommodate this lady's child that does what he wants to do. He fights when it's time to change. He'll attack you. Now he's trying to make the staff put down their protective gear before he goes out because he wants them to be unprotected when he tries to attack them and leave out the door. The mom is a lot because now it seems like she's bullying the school into doing a total different curriculum that we can't do. We don't have the staff to do. We don't even have the staff to literally deal with him because now he takes 3 people. 2 is mandatory. 3 is helpful, very helpful. Just changing him now. And it's not a fight. He would prefer if I would just lay him down like he was 6, 7 months old and just change him on a changing pad while he eats his food and plays with his iPad. That's what he would prefer. But I'll quit. I will quit before I do that. I will never do that to that 8-year-old. He will never get changed like that by me. He attacks every day. We have to do data because he attacks. He attacks going out the door. Yesterday he pushed somebody out the door because he wanted to go out the door. Pushed both of the girls that was with him out the door. And so they had to, do a lot of roughing them, not roughing them up. It was real rough getting him back inside and up the stairs. We can't even do emergency drills. We had a shut-in or a lockdown. Yeah, lockdown. We couldn't even do the lockdown correctly because he didn't want to he didn't want to do what he has to do. He wants to do what he wants to do. So his mom, she said she's starting to leave a lot earlier now, especially because of that incident that happened yesterday. So they don't want any parents, unless it's in their IEP, to pick them up or drop them off. And you don't even need to stay. So she's making it rather complicated. It's causing behaviors. The way they set up in the Tech Hub next to the little boy with the office is causing behaviors for him because, remember, he can't have technology. So now we have to give him, like, a laptop or iPad, but he just reads books and does work. His more educational, so he can't watch YouTube or anything, which he doesn't need to. But this other man, he's Disney Channel. He brings all his personal devices, and he can play. And if one of his iPads die, he'll take your whole head off. You got to hurry up and get him a new iPad. So this is what we're really going through. We're just walking around appeasing this kid, and he still gets angry, still gets violent, and he can't talk. And it's like the mom, all the stuff that was never done, she's trying to make the school do it. Now, I'm not available to do anything but change him. And in a minute, I'm going to stop doing that because I don't even know why I'm the only one to change him. Why does people, they'll call me. I left early on Monday, and they said, well, could you think you could change him? Well, yeah, it's in my schedule. I mean, it's around the time before I leave, so yeah, I could change him. But y'all can't change him? So everybody, oh, you know, I'm just going to watch you do it, and I can do it, but they never can do it. Even after watching me do it, they've never done it. If I don't change them, the BCVA changes them. Nobody else changes them. Nobody. Even though they say they can do it. Oh, heck yeah, I can do this. Nobody even really wants to see him. So the two ladies that work with him, that spend the most time with him, they don't play with him. They don't have a problem with him. He is heavy to deal with, but they'll interact with him. But on the third, their contract is up with us, so I don't know what they're going to do with this little boy. But I don't want to be on him all day. And I don't say, no, I'm not doing it. But that's not going to be my child. I don't want to deal with that because it's too heavy. Another parent complained, a lesbian parent complained about the Pride Parade, because we had a Pride Parade, was it last week? This week? Recently we had a Pride Parade. So now the parents complaining because they turned to Pride. There's no Black Pride or Panther Pride because we're the Panthers and the Panther Cubs. No Panther Pride. Gay Pride. They don't even give suggestions about Panther Pride or you're kind of proud to be Black or Yemen or anything like that. Nope, Gay Pride. So, and because our school is so contaminated with all the anti-sexual stuff from the staff, now the parents, there's another lady, she said, you know, I don't understand why you guys are forcing this Pride stuff. The Pride was in June. And now the lady that in the anti-sexual relationship, she's like, that's too early for the way y'all introducing this stuff. It's this school because it's too early for them to be learning about all that stuff. And it really is. It really is, but it makes the other people, the anti-sexual staff, feel like they belong when we force all this stuff down the kids' throat. The parade was just like, love is love, love is love, rainbows. It was awful. It was awful. And then that day, parents came to get their kids early. They picked them kids up early that day. So I get a little break tomorrow. I don't have to come in. There's no school, so I don't really have to come in. All I have to do is take a call for 20 to 30 minutes in the morning, and then that's my 10-hour day, so I still get paid for the 10, 11 hours that I work. So, and I already got my timesheet signed. So that's the plus about all that stuff is I don't have to deal with none of these violent kids tomorrow. Even my the one that I had in the summer, he's getting so violent. So I'll say this: the one that I had in the summer, he's another one that wears pull-ups. He's saying, press like and subscribe. Press like and subscribe. So he repeats. He's a colic about a lot of little stuff, but what it tells me is we're getting a lot of YouTube in us. And the parents don't want to register how it affects the children with all this YouTube and all this visual stimulation that these children have. It's awful. And I get it that you don't want to be bothered with your kids or whatever. Maybe it's not that they don't want to. Maybe it is they don't want to be bothered. They don't want to be disturbed. They want to be, because a lot of the parents, they're in YouTube land or social media land as well. They're on TikTok. These adults have TikTok. So it's just trippy for the kids because that screen is so small, it just narrows their everything to that small screen. Even if they got a 15-inch iPad or whatever, it's still a small window. I think that's all. It's really, it's strange just to see the direction education is going. Not like I didn't know it, No Child Left Behind. You know what happened with that. But without any structure or discipline, and the children are making their own choices, they're free to be, they can have sex anywhere, they can still do whatever they want to do, and you're giving them gummies, don't want to suspend them because you don't want your suspension rate to go up per paperwork. Everything is about data. They're reading. Yeah, we might pass a couple of reading scores, but all the kids can't read. These kids aren't on reading level. We can't read. Well, I can read, but those kids can't read. They need help. They don't even understand their homework. So it makes you wonder, well, what are you learning in class? Are you even paying attention in class? How are you teaching? And it seems like the teachers are given what to teach and how long to teach it, and all. Teachers don't even have their own style or curriculum. They're gifted this stuff. So, the day in the life of working at the school. So, I'll figure the rest out. Thank you for taking my call, and I'll mute my line.
Day in the life of West Oakland. Wow. Man, play around with sex. The joke is Mary Kay Letourneau, Susan Smith, Pride. Play around with sex. Woo, man. She said they had the kerfuffle with the parents and the staff member of the school. Now the parents are not allowed on campus. Like, well, that's the sort of thing that lets me know, like, it must be a lot of Negro students at this school, because I can't imagine them having a policy like that where there are lots of white students, them telling lots of white parents that you have all been barred from the grounds. Like, but the kerfuffle, just all of that, like, wow. Wow, they banned the parents, and even a part of that, the mom who is stalking the music teacher, and her child isn't even up there. And he's even had to codify how to deal with her unwanted presence. Like, what in the man? And even, like, for real, like, we've heard a lot of that where it was other staff members trying to hook up with students, and that's what it sounds like here. This mom trying to hook up with this music instructor and all that. Like, come on, man. Like, in a system of white supremacy, racism on the plantation, like, that's how we got all these throwaway children. That's our major. We've been emboldened in Area 8. We don't need no more of that. Being emboldened in the bedroom, we just got all these unwanted Leroy Juniors and little Lakeisha addicted to screens. Like, we don't need no more of that. We really don't. Enabling, that's a big part of it right there. Like, man, the 140 pounds, and even some of that sounds like, as opposed to, hey, I want a parent. Had this child, let me be a parent. Like, here you go, get your screen, here, get something to eat, and like, what? What? At 8 years old, just put me on a table and put a pacifier in my mouth and a screen pacifier in my hand, and give me a good wipe down and put a new diaper on me, like an 8-year-old who weighs more than I do? Like, what? I think that is crazy. Like, what? Man, when you play around with sex, I mean, come on. So we have that. Like, just no plan for many of these children, no plan at all, the obesity, bad food, all of that. But we got to get right for Pride. I was thinking the same thing. Like, I thought the Pride, I lived in California, I lived in the Bay Area. I was just there months ago. Like, I thought Pride was in, like, the summertime, like the early part of the summer, because it's close to when they have all that stuff here in Seattle, like June-ish. Like, what? It's almost October. What do you mean Pride? Like, what? And didn't I say that at the top of the program, the LGBTQ, they come in and they talk about, claim they're talking about racism or DEI or something. And it's, no, we're talking about gay and queer and lesbian and anti. So that's what we're talking about. And I said, that's so consistent. She said, even the parent, like, wait a minute, we are in Oakland. We are in the land of Huey P. Newton, doctor. We are in the land of Bobby Seale, Bobby Hutton, privileged black males. We don't even have Panther Pride. We are the Panthers. That's the school. We don't even have Panther Pride. How is it? We already did gay pride. How did we get 2 gay prides? We ain't even get 1 Panther Pride. Come on. Come on. She said they were pulling the students out. Left like, nope. We're not doing no extra. And I heard another parent being logical. She said, wait a minute. We got little Leroy Jr. He's 10. Little Leroy Jr. is not even reading on scale. Why do we have to do the queer and anti-sex? He's 10. Can we get the reading straight first before we get to the anti-sex, which is exactly what Fuller said. Like, wait a minute. Like, let's just be logical. Even if I say I don't have nothing against anti-sex and gay, like, is that the most important thing in the world? I need to learn that before I learn how to tie my shoes? Like, really? I can't even read, but we got to do the rainbows and come on. Just what are the priorities, particularly for Leroy? Like, I mean, you going to get a prison suit. What are the priorities, man? Is this going to help you keep me out of prison? Is this going to keep me from weighing 140 pounds when I'm 7 years old? If the answer is no, we have to get to that later. Like, and I'm not even talking bad about no. I'm just priorities, man. I need to get this weight off of me. Unless you're going to get a lifetime supply of Ozempic, I need to get this 140 pounds down right now. I'm not even going to be alive and healthy enough to be happy and queer. Ain't that true? Come on, man. Talk logic, man. The parents said we're going to be logical, too. Leroy is not going to participate in 2 rounds of 2025 queerness. Anti-sex, not going to do it. And she said, Bay Area mom, she said, they got mad. Some of the anti-sexual instructors got mad. Said, wait, do you see this? The parents aren't even allowing little Leroy to participate in the pride. They are retracting the children. It's supposed to be voluntary. I mean, you know. Or is it? Got compulsory anti-sex lessons at the school. She said, and she said the children who have all kinds of behavioral issues or maybe even bowel issues, which is common, especially if they've been traumatized. She's told us about it before. She said that they'll pair her with him. Like, oh, yeah, you got to get little fella and, you know, get him in the bathroom and get him clean. It's like, whoa. What, am I supposed to be the only one who works with him? It's not that I'm opposed to working with him, but it shouldn't be that I'm the only one who works with this child. And that's something that they'll do classroom and beyond. They will make sure. They got whole reports. We had guests who've done dissertations on this. They will get the black educators and put the most challenging students. They will have the most severe, like, behavioral problems, violence, bowel issues, maybe all together. And say, oh, yeah, that's who you are going to work with, Lakeisha. Like, wait a minute. Like, come on now. Come on. We're not going to give you no extra nickel. Might not even get no security material to keep you safe. See, protective equipment. She said, I'm not surprised either. But she said the little fella, who I guess he's not so little, but he is combative. He doesn't like it when you all take him out of the classroom and they got all their protective gear on. He says, oh, no, I don't like that. That way I can act out when you all don't have all that on. I said, that doesn't surprise me at all, and how that would impact, you know, a child's brain computer. She said when she pointed out that they don't have black pride, they don't have Panther pride. I said, now, if they had black pride, you'd probably be a black identity extremist for even suggesting such a thing. And fired. The one of the most staggering, and Bay Area Mom normally has quite a few, I don't know what, jaw-dropping things to share about her classroom experience. But wow, when she said that little fella will just repeat, press like and subscribe. Press like and subscribe. That sounds like something out of like Black Mirror, some sort of dystopian. What? Do what? You have been, man, my brain hurts. My brain hurts. My brain hurts. Like, what? Hey, the genius Bay Area Mom told us, you don't have to have the children. You really don't. They have all, it's new age. They got all kinds of technology and such. You are helping racists. Having a black child, and you have just dumped them in front of YouTube from age 3 to whenever. I don't have time for all that, little Leroy. Here you go. Here's the phone. Here's the screen. There you go. There you press. There you go. Press like and subscribe. Press like and subscribe. That is a total disgrace. And I can't. What they say. What they say. The fruit don't fall far from the screen. Gus T. I should trademark that one. Put that on T-shirts and such. But I mean, are you supposed to be surprised? I have to tell you all, it's connected. I have to beg with y'all. Will you please stop sending me what you watched on YouTube? I don't care what entertainment you watched. I don't care what you watched on YouTube. I have to say that all the time. They'll call in and interrupt our book club. The book club. Man, you know what I seen on YouTube that has nothing to do with the book we're reading at all. But I watched it on YouTube. Woo, I subscribed to. Man. You do not have to have the children. We really don't. System of white supremacy, if that's the parenting that you're going to do, just shun. I mean, we've been doing this for a long time, but wow. 30 years ago, you didn't have a screen in your pocket, so they couldn't just whip it out. You at least had to wait until we got to a residence, generally speaking, to, all right, there we go. Get in front of that screen and hush up. I got things to do, you know. Now, like, woo. All day long, like, I mean, no, you don't have to interact at all. In fact, it seems, she says that is the plan. Get on that screen, have 5 screens, 5 phones, tablets, whatever, but there you go. YouTube raised me. That and fruit by the foot, which they probably advertise on YouTube. Whew, Jesus Christ, I could vomit. And the genius Dr. Frances Cress Welsing said that exactly more than a decade ago. She said, you put that child, and she was a child psychiatrist, so I mean, she was observing the effects of this a long time ago. She said, you get that child, they get accustomed to looking at those little tiny, narrow screens at a young age, and it impacts their developing brain computer so that they get accustomed to looking in a very narrow, small world, not in a large, expansive view of life, the universe. Whew. Even they were talking about having increased stigmatisms in terms of children having eye problems, and they think it might be because they're looking at those little tiny screens so early. Nobody goes outside anymore, so you don't look at anything at a great distance, mountains off in the foothill, and none of that. Everything right at that little tiny iPhone screen all day long. Like and subscribe. She said that. Apparently, she was already observing the devastating non-constructive impacts of our shiftless parenting. When you play around with sex, hey, like and subscribe. Disgraceful. Just disgraceful. Much obliged, Bay Area mom. And the school year just started, so I mean, number again, 720-716-7300, the code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. The email untiljustice@gmail.com. Let's see. Other folks, if we have federal employees concerned about the layoffs and such, if we have folks where, I don't know, are they still talking about Charlie Kirk in the workplace, or firing folks as a result of their social media behavior or other verbalizations around all of that? Let us know. Certainly if you have other situations in the workplace, we'll give folks another 5 minutes or so, see if they have observations, suggestions to share. We should be here tomorrow for the Catherine Massey Book Club, fourth installment, Maria Eptimiades, The Sins of the Mother Susan Smith, Mother Superior, killing off her white children and then blaming it on a Negro male. We will continue with all of that tomorrow. So glad that we are reading about all of this, because I didn't know firm details about everything. Even the workplace racism, where they talked to a black male, Carl Long is his name. Mr. Long, black dude in Union, South Carolina. They went to his job to ask him, what do you know about these missing white children? We'll need you to come down to the station, answer a few questions. He said they came on his job in South Carolina. Man, I said, next question, are you still employed? Can you fathom any job, like Chick-fil-A, Jack in the Box, custodial worker, you clean the toilets? Can you imagine any job? White people come and talk to you about the kidnapping of not one, two white toddlers. One of them still on a bottle. What? I don't know if they handcuffed Mr. Long, but that's kind of irrelevant. Police come to your job and take you down to, like, do what? Jesus Christ. And Brother Long had the audacity to say, you know, I felt right bad. It was kind of embarrassing. Really, Brother Long. It was embarrassing. Like the first question, are you still employed, Brother Long? You need a few dollars? You get it? I'm sorry, it's not funny, but I mean, Jesus Christ, the workplace. That's why I said you could be fired. You don't have to do nothing. He could have been fired for that. I would have been stunned if he was still employed for all that, because it took a while, you know, for the truth and everything to come out. But it could have been something as simple as that. Ray Soldier lied about something else. She didn't even accuse me per se, say that I did it, but hey, we got to ask questions, and them children still missing. We got to. And you know that would be about all it would take. Leroy had something to do with each other. What you do? That's it. and would fire Leroy. And when it comes known that, oh, wait a minute, what? That wench lied. Wasn't no carjack. She did. Oh, look. Are they going to go back and apologize? Get you a fruit basket, half-eaten bag, peanut M&Ms. My bad, Mr. Law. We didn't mean to do all that. We didn't mean to cast no aspersions on your character. You always been a good Negro. Man. Woo. Catherine Massey Book Club, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Apparently, there were a number of black males who had that sort of treatment, I'll say, during the 10 days or so before they figured out the lie of all of this. But Jesus Christ. I guess if I get 2 plugs for the book club, this is another example of why you should not engage in any sort of sexual activity with your coworkers, because unless my memory is bad, Susan Smith, she got these 2 children that she ultimately drowned. Didn't want them. They didn't have YouTube. She couldn't just stick them in front of the screen and say, I'm done. I'm going to run off with the white man I want to be with or whatever. They didn't do that then. So she said, I got to throw them at the bottom of the lake, blame it on black dude. But she met her baby daddy of these 2 children at her job. They started flirting and all that, and that was even a part of it because he continued the same behavior. Once he got married and got her pregnant and got tired of her, he said, oh, we got some other cute young ladies on the job. I'll mess around with them too. And she would come to the job and fuss and all that. I said that during the book club. See what I say every Thursday. No hanky-panky sexual activity with your coworkers. Ain't gonna end up situations like what we heard Bay Area mom, stalker coming into the workplace and all that. Come on. Anyway, let's see. Other folks, did we miss any folks with commentary? Our caller at the courthouse in Florida should be with us as well.
Yes, sir. May I be heard?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Greetings to Gus, the host, listeners, and callers. Gus, there was something mentioned yesterday from a white coworker, a white woman, suspected race soldier. It was a black female that works for the school board, who made the comment about something about uneducated white boy, and that whole, they didn't even really mention the whole paragraph, but just kept those 3 terms mentioned in frequency. So a white woman named Kat Kamak down here in Florida, I guess, was trying to get it to where a black female named Tina Certain, because it's in the news report, Tina Certain, to be fired, but I don't think that has happened, but that's kind of come up in the workplace a little bit, not too much. Another observation I like to share is at the monthly meeting last week, a black female presided over the meeting when this black male, the court director, wasn't present. So I guess he had the day off. So she made a comment. I guess it's called self-deprecating, where she made fun of herself by saying that she introduced someone's birthday. It was only one person's birthday for September. Okay, so this was a white woman that was seated on the table next to her. So she said, well, I just want to introduce the only birthday we have this month, and she's always there when you need her. She answers the phone on the first ring, and I don't do any of that, and everybody started laughing. So she introduced this white woman, and they mentioned the birthday and everything. So that was another one. My next observation was these two white women were discussing something, and one of the white women said something about scratching or butt scratching and bananas and monkeys. So the other white woman made a comment in a very low tone of voice, and then tried to say in a higher tone of voice, oh, such and such, that's not what I meant, or that's not how I meant it. So she didn't ask me nothing, so I didn't say anything. So I was in the corner. I was on the other side of the room. So she specified my name. Now, it was 3 black people in the room. So they were talking about something about being white. I didn't get the whole context, but I suspect that they were practicing racism, and they might have thought that I heard all of what they said. So I just didn't respond, really. But I did make sure I wrote it down. And then the other white woman replied and says, why do you always have to bring race into it, to the other white woman? So they severed ties and went on about their business. So that happened, I believe that was on a Tuesday. So another thing that happened, if I could share, is an email went out from the black male that has the title of Civil Court Director, where I guess he has it set to where he wants to do a sit-down, and he sent an email to every person in the civil area. So it's like lots of black people names on this email, and I hadn't really heard of anybody going back there to do a sit-down with him. So I just thought it was an act of racism that the white people in charge that's over him don't have it set for the people to go talk to them. They had him send this email out to do this so-called sit-down to say, well, it's going to be confidential, and I'm not going to share anything, and you have the freedom to express your thoughts and how you feel. Just make sure you keep it respectful of yourself in this office. So I think it's about the racism problems, in my opinion. A victim of racism.
Wow, that is crazy. Are you able to hear me, caller in Florida?
Oh, sorry about that. Yes, sir.
Man, something happened with your audio where it dropped when you got to. So when you were telling us about the I guess white person, he said, okay, I want you all to be honest and give us feedback. You said you thought it was going to be something to do with racism just because of how they phrased everything. The volume, it got really low, like it was nigh impossible to hear you. Now I thought for a second it was me because I unmuted and I was like, oh man, we can't hear right when it got to the part explicitly about racism. but it sounded like you couldn't hear me either. So I disconnected. I was like, oh man, maybe, it's my phone. So I tried to disconnect and call back, but it didn't change. And then when you finished, and I said, oh man, can you hear me? Your volume started low, and then it went back up. It went back to where your volume had been for most of the time when you shared, till you got to that last part that was explicitly, it sounded about racism. I don't know. If it's not asking too much, maybe can we get the last anecdote again? Because that's the one that we missed. We got right up to the part where you said, the white fella, I think it was a white fella, he said, let us know, give us feedback about what's happening in the office here. You thought it was about racism, even though they didn't say that, just because of how they said you're not going to get in trouble, just keep it respectful, professional, however. From that point on, your audio dropped, so we kind of missed everything after that.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes, sir, no problem. I think you're mentioning about the sit down from the blackmail,
right?
Where he's sending this email out to all of the employees, and I think it is about a response from a black female staff member who, when reported that incident about the from the white woman supervisor. So in the email, where it was a lot of black people's names in this email, and they usually don't include black people in that mess, like in that way. So he's, I guess, supposed to be scheduling the sit down with these different staff members in the civil department. So in the email, he mentioned about it can be confidential, and I'm not going to share anything with anyone, or you have the freedom to express yourself, your thoughts, and how you feel, and to make sure that you keep the respect for yourself and for this office. So it was like a paragraph where he mentioned that. So I'm not sure when he's going to start doing these sit downs with the staff, but I haven't heard of where any black people have set or scheduled to talk to this black male. But I think the white people that are over him that make the decisions, they should be doing these sit downs or scheduling these talks. So they just decided to put it back on the black guy. So that was about the sit down with the court director. That's what the email was talking about.
Okay, that's the part, yes, that we missed in total. Wow, that's fascinating in and of itself to put but as he said, because I found that to be a pattern frequently, where the people who are in charge, who can solve this problem, people that are ultimately going to have to make the decisions, they are not present. They will might even call this racial showcasing. They will assign a non-white person, often someone classified as black, put them out front like they are in charge, in charge of the sit-downs, whatever that means. And yes, you come tell Leroy all about it, and Leroy will get to the bottom of it. Like, what? Why don't you have the white people who are in charge, who have the ability to solve this problem, why don't you have them come and do the sit-downs? Listen, make the decision. Make people behave even. That's even interesting, that they got to be respectful of this office and yourself. Like, what? That's curious. Are they, I don't know. Do people disrespect themselves frequently at the courthouse? Like, I don't know. Is it filth? And particularly with this context, we think it's related to racism, and the episode that happened with the black female before, like, man, they expect some filth Florins, and wow, Fascinating. That's even more of a reason. If you think there's going to be this kerfuffle at the courthouse, then you should have the most powerful white people present. Like, make people behave. We're going to be professional. We're taking this serious, and we're not putting up with a whole lot of, anything really from anybody. We're going to get to the bottom of this. That's not the way that they went, it sounds like. Let's see, the portions that I did hear the first time around, I said they had the birthday tackiness, which again is why I'm a big advocate of not, I don't want to do no birthday cards, celebrations, not even for me. I don't want to do no potlucks or none of the nonsense coming up at the end of this year, holidays so-called. He said they had the white woman, I guess she was substitute in charge of the meeting or what have you, and I guess a part of her duties entailed the birthdays for the month or what have you. She said, oh, she's so professional and answers on the first ring and blah, blah, blah. And it seemed like it's got to be some tackiness in all of that. One, I'm not 5. I don't need a cupcake. If you're going to come, we get to the end and we got all this tackiness and we got to have serious meetings. Maybe we not even professional in how we deal with each other. We don't need to do no goofiness about no birthdays. And especially if it's just going to be tackiness there too. Come on, let's stop wasting time. Let's just be courteous and professional with everyone. And then maybe we could not waste time either way. You wouldn't have to do no tacky birthday celebrations. And we wouldn't have to do no tacky meetings about now. What did you say? And were you racist against her? And none of that. Let's just be courteous and professional, and we can save a lot of time and energy. Now, speaking of tacky, I've been saying really for years. I was going to say for weeks, which would still be true, but for years I've been saying, we don't do no Charlie Kirk in the workplace. We don't do no politics in the workplace. We don't do food and cuisine in the workplace. I love my Monstera. I don't talk about them in the workplace. Why is that? It's never, ever going to be anything but tacky in the workplace. And the racism is probably about 5 words away, being truthful. You get off into talking about food, I guarantee you get to fried chicken, watermelon, chitlins within 1 paragraph. You even get back to my beloved Monstera. Now, those are tropical plants. I always did like the Tarzan. Did you watch Tarzan? They would go through the jungle and they had the bananas and the butts. Well, never mind. I didn't mean, that's not what see, you get right there. It doesn't matter. Even talking about the workplace, a whole lot of times that gets tacky and trifling. So let's just stick to the workplace. We don't need to have any dialogue about nothing else. He said the white woman wasn't even talking to that. The white woman is not even talking to me. She's having dialogue with someone else. I thought he said on the other side of the room, talking about the monkeys and the butt scratching. And he said, now, somehow within all of that, it related to what does it mean to be white? Oh, Lord. And that's another one. What conversation could they have possibly been having related to any of their duties at the courthouse? When did they have cases about gorillas, monkeys? Was that I know they have custody disputes, marriages and such. Was that part divorce filing? Who's going to get custody of the monkey? Was that one? Because I know monkeys have come up before in the courthouse. This isn't the first time they've been talking about Planet of the Apes. We had the little white girl, tragic arrangement. He said, oh, man, I need to get me one of them monkeys. I got, take care of mine at home. She's married to a black fella, so she got the,
That's the same one.
Oh, Lord, come on. While
Judge,
the monkey talk in the work, come on. It does not
she
get.
was the.
Go ahead, my fault.
I'm sorry for interrupting. Like, for context, she was the one that tried to say, hey, you know, why you have to always bring race into everything? And the other white woman had to say, hey, you know, trying to get my attention, you know, that's not how I meant it, or that's not what I mean. And I was just trying to sign back in. I wasn't involved in the conversation. And you have a new employee that's non-white, and you have a third black person in the same room at the same time. So, but she only wanted to mention my name, but yet they was talking about all of this butt scratching and bananas and all of that, and about being white. And they tried to look at the non-white female and say something about white or something, and then that's when they mentioned about, oh, that's not what I meant, and hey, why you have to bring race to everything? And she was giggling. So these same two white women, the other white woman talking about the Tim Tebow jersey and wearing the FAMU orange and green.
Extra tacky with the detail, man, and like with commentary and behavior like that. Now you can't tell me that white people are ignorant about racism, because that seems so targeted with the commentary, like specifically including black people who weren't even in the discussion. He said, I wasn't in there talking about race. I wasn't even talking to them. I think he said the same thing with the other victims, non-white people who were present. They weren't, you know, reading Neely Fuller Jr. and quoting Marcus Garvey and y'all gonna do right crack. None of that. Like we told y'all over here on all of this, and then to go almost on the defensive. Why do you have to bring race in everything? That's since, hey, I was not in this conversation, and she didn't directly ask me no question. Nothing need be said. I just put that in the journal. Ignorant about racism. Like, it does not get any better than tacky. Extra tacky. And they're at the courthouse again. Like, I keep saying that. Like, if this was like McDonald's or a bar happy hour, fine. They're at the courthouse. At minimum, let's talk about, you know, work duties, responsibilities. You know, are we ready for the autumn? We sure the heating system works? Okay. Everything's been filed. We have any updates for passport photos? We got all of these important things to work about. What are we talking about? Monkeys. And being racist. And what does it mean to be classified as white? And monkeys. Like, come on. Bananas. Come on. And practicing racism. Come on. But again, that's why. Just keep it on the job. No discussions about anything else. In fact, that's the sort of thing I would have in mind when they come back and say we want to do like a birthday potluck or even a birthday party and go out together. Like, you were the one that was calling us monkeys before. Even you were really talking about your children and black husband like they're monkeys. Nah, I'm good on all of that. And the FAMU chick too. Like, yeah, get out of here. Just let me know if FAMU gets their money from Trump. You can keep me posted on that. I don't need no long conversation on that either, but just maybe she'll wear her paraphernalia. She'll break the rules again. She'll wear her paraphernalia to let everyone know we got our money. Trump is doing right by the HBCUs. Like, oh, okay, well, thank you. And then we can get back to work on that one too. Because that's rule break. I already told you that's rule break. Even that showed you. Broke the rules. She broke the rules and wore her FAMU Go Rattlers paraphernalia in the workplace. And when they reminded her, because she already knew she's not ignorant, when they reminded her, hey, not supposed to be wearing FAMU. It's no sports at no Tim Tebow, no Gators, no Hurricane, no sports paraphernalia, no Jaguars either. She said, man, that's messed up. Look here, Leroy. Look at it. You see my Rattler shirt? You don't have a problem with it, do you? Here, look, Lakeisha, come here. And she went around to all the black people. She didn't go to no white people. She just went to the black people and asked them, are you offended? You have a problem with my Rattlers shirt? You don't think it's acceptable? You think it's all right, don't you? It's professional, don't you think? Why didn't you ask any white people? Doesn't get any better than tacky. That's what I mean. So, yeah, white people are not ignorant. They're in the workplace. Like, that's wild. I've never even heard of that. Like, discussions about being classified as white in the workplace. Like, what? Do what? That's one for sure why I say do not wear earbuds in the workplace. If you do, either you can do the fake out where you wear them but they're not on, or you have one in and one out and the volume is not blasting in the one that's working. That way, if you're at work, you're on the clock. You need to be able to hear what's happening around you. Dylan Roof might be coming to shoot up the place. They might be talking about firing you. Government might be talking about firing everybody there and shutting the whole thing down. You need to know what's happening around. What are they talking about around me? Or even being white. What? I need to write this down.
Gus, can I add something?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And another thing, this is the same person that's fascinated with these these gnome decorations, with different holidays. Bring these pointed hat gnome figurines, and we'll sit them out in front of the records counter. So she also did that as well this week. So I wanted to share that as well.
She get that, man. They had told them, I thought they had black patrons who came into the courthouse and they said specifically, hey, all these little gnome figurines, they look like Klansmen. I think it's racist and you should take it down. And this is recent, like this just happened for the, last holiday season, I think, unless my memory is bad, that it's not cool. Take it up. It's racist. Said Klan specifically. They look like little Klansmen. Take them down. And they did it. White defiance. You don't tell me what to do. And just got even more of them. I'm not taking nothing down. We're going to leave all my little pointy hat friends right where they are. And they still having accusations of racism in the office. And we didn't even get to Halloween. It's not even October yet. Gnomes are back. I thought these are Klansmen. You don't tell me what to do. and you just further proving the point because you pulled them out so early. They're not Christmas decorations. Are they Halloween decorations? Thanksgiving decorations? Hanukkah? Labor Day? Veterans Day? It's late for Labor Day. Veterans Day could still be, but it's late for Labor Day. Maybe they're just racist. Maybe the black people who said that, maybe they had it correct from the very beginning. They're just little Klansmen, and you all are trying to get by on the sneak with your little Klansmen paraphernalia. Maybe they were right from jump. Reminder that I would not. Man, that's why if that was like a memorandum, if that was an email that was sent around like, hey, the Klansmen got to go. People have written in about that, and let's make sure the courthouse is a welcoming environment for everyone. Ooh-wee. That would save, even if I didn't report anybody about that specifically, no problem, but, oh, man. Well, then, I don't want to hear nothing about, we forgot. You forgot, because I think it was more than one person, but it was at least, I think it was more than one patron who said, hey, APs look like little Klansmen. I don't think that's acceptable for the courthouse. They were told about this, and they didn't take them down, brought them back for the next order. Come on. White defiance. Again, I will never look at gnomes the same way, because I never thought of it. I remember when he said that before, I'd never even thought of, the gnomes as Klan, even though they do have little pointy hood hats, and they are generally, they don't look like Leroy. I don't see no gnomes that look like they got a lot of melanin, generally speaking. But yeah, I'd never even thought about that. I don't collect gnomes. Any hoodles, man, that would be a great reminder. Don't do no holiday stuff in the workplace. No Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving, because it's a whole big lead up before we get to December, but none of them. I said no candy basket, none of that stuff. None of that stuff. I don't want no decorations on my door, nothing. Thank you. It doesn't get any better than tack-in. That's for any, and I don't want to do no potlucks either. Food, none of that. I'm good. You can get your excuses in now. I'm on a diet. I gained 50 pounds last year. I'm diabetic. I'm on Ozempic. Gluten-free. Vegan. You can stack them. I gained 50 pounds last holiday season. I'm not repeating that this year. I'm starting my diet early, and I'm sticking to I'm not eating nothing. No cakes, no chickens, no pies, no cobblers, no nothing. Lots of different ways you can go back there. And same thing, even if I worked with all people classified as black, I'm not eating nothing. Not doing no potlucks either. We can be constructive, but we don't have to, That's one habit that I would just want to stick to. That just is what it is in any workplace. I think the only time that would change is if this was my business, my small business, and we had like 3 employees, and my grandmother was one, like, oh, okay, yes, I brought sweet potato pie in for all the employees today. Woo, we'll have a great time. Like, then, okay. If it's, you work at McDonald's, Tesla, it's 300 people there, nah. It's 30 people that, nah, I'm good. Any hoodles. We will be here tomorrow, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, Catherine Massey Book Club. As I said, all of this started, Susan and Dave, they met on the job. Knew that was doomed from the beginning, at Winn-Dixie, no less. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and then Saturday, compensatory call-in, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll catch up on what has transpired over the last 7 days. Like I said, I might have to catch up and include that report about the flagrant white supremacy in the ICE recruitment paraphernalia. I was going to play that today, but I already had my, audio together for the broadcast. But like, man, I had already, and I want to say, did they include what I said? You can ride a horsey and, man, get that whip and lash out on some dark people. Man, black people, Haitians, maybe even some real black people. Get out of control over here. Anywho, tomorrow, Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Sobriety would be best under conditions of white supremacy. That would be one to remember as we head into the so-called holiday season, because so many of the holiday parties and all that nonsense, alcohol is included. So you want, hey, I am sober, well-functioning brain computer, and even I'm not interested in being the designated driver. We've heard about that before, where they have black employees. We got to go out to the bar and all that. Sometimes they go to like the brothel or the strip club, and everybody's got to do 15 shots of Mad Dog 2020, and then Leroy has to be the designated trap. Like, nope, I'm not doing that either. I can be a teetotaler at home. You all can get an Uber, right? Because everybody makes more money than me, so surely you got Lyft in your phone, you're good. Get your code together now for the holiday season so you can avoid all of the tackiness from October, because sometimes they got to do all that nonsense for Halloween too. So get the code together now. Creator, remind us to stop saying not all white people are racist. Remind us to not waste non-white people's time and energy. Remind us, stop producing throwaway offspring to be raped by Mary Kay or drowned by Susan Smith, other white women. Stop gossiping. Certainly for the workplace, stop name-calling people classified as black. It has been time. Replace white supremacy with justice immediately. Cow signing out. Thanks all for tuning in.
Nigga, you so brainwashed. I'm a victim, brother. Problem. You're a victim. I'm a victim of 400 years of conditioning. Shut up. The man has programmed my conditioning. Even my conditioning has been conditioned.